Many people question why Dr. William Franklin Graham III, a well-known figure in Christian circles, is departing at 72. We'll explore his fantastic life story today, from his disobedient boyhood to the influence of his ministry worldwide. We'll also look at this influential person's incredible path and his millions-touching humanitarian efforts. Look at his life and the heartbreaking reason he had to say goodbye. Let's briefly review the significant events in Dr. William Franklin Graham's life, career, and humanitarian endeavors that have influenced his legacy before delving into the cause of his passing. Early life and transformation of Franklin Graham. Born on July 14, 1952, Franklin came from a prominent Christian family and was the son of the renowned preacher Billy Graham. Franklin was exposed to Christian beliefs as a kid and grew up in a devout family. Raised in the shadow of his father's enormous heritage, a concoction of unheard-of affluence and expectation characterized his formative years. He was also exposed to Christianity and church life at a young age, since the Graham residence served as a meeting spot for Christian missionaries and leaders. However, something else also grew there: the root of rebellion against the same principles he was brought up with. The rebellion. Franklin's life became bleak as he entered his adolescence. He gradually became enmeshed in a self-centered and rebellious lifestyle. These were rebellious, partying, smoking, and drinking years that went against everything that was ingrained in him. Franklin struggled with more than simply being a disobedient teenager. He needed to break free from the tradition of a famous preacher. He attended a prestigious Christian boarding school in New York, but had trouble adjusting and was finally dismissed. He continued to act recklessly. He was notorious at college for racing around Montreat, North Carolina, arguing in class, and disobeying orders. Franklin grappled with an emptiness that stemmed from his life choices despite his outward display of self-assurance. His philosophy. As he reflected on this period, he noted that despite his faith, he did not want God to dictate how he should live. He craved freedom, the ability to enjoy himself without his beliefs being shackled. He believed he could only find genuine pleasure in something that went against the fundamental foundation of his upbringing, which is why his quest for happiness was so self-centered. However, Franklin always felt more hollow as he worked towards his desired lifestyle. When Franklin Graham visited Jerusalem at 22, he experienced a change of heart. He needed clarity and an alone night in a hotel room to understand it. He felt compelled to read the Gospel of John instead of going out for a drink as he had intended. The concept of being born again resonated with him when he encountered it in this reading. The U-turn. After reflecting for a while, Franklin realized that sin was controlling his life, that he was not doing anything properly, and that his decisions had taken him in a different direction. This was a turning point in his beliefs about religion and personal accountability. Knowing that he was a sinner and fully trusting in God, Franklin knelt and prayed that night. He surrendered to his Christ and acknowledged that he could no longer follow a road of disobedience since it had left him feeling hopeless and unhappy. That surrender immediately changed his life. He decided to live differently and sought ways to practice his newfound faith-based career. Following this life-changing event, Franklin felt called to the ministry. Seeking God. Beyond just being the son of a well-known preacher, he started to seek God's will in his life. Living up to his father's heritage at an early experience, practicing evangelism via the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, or BGEA, drove his first call to ministry. Franklin was exposed to outreach and evangelism as an undergraduate at Appalachian State University, serving in various positions via his father's church. His involvement in missionary activities increased as his religion grew. The Samaritan's Purse. Bob Pierce, one of the founders of Samaritan's Purse, invited him to accompany him on his first actual mission trip, which took place outside of the United States. This sparked Franklin's desire to help those in need and ultimately led him to pursue spiritual outreach as a component of humanitarian work. Amid this awakening and vocation to ministry, Franklin devoted several hours to studying the Bible. He sought to investigate the Scriptures to make the Word more applicable to daily life. The pursuit of knowledge was a profoundly emotional as well as intellectual endeavor. He would carry this idea into his future ministry activity because he realized that faith is belief in action. The Bible was more than simply a book to him. It served as a guide for putting his newfound faith into practice. Franklin Graham's lifetime dedication to ministry was shaped by his religion, which brought him into Samaritan's Purse, where his humanitarian heart was welcomed. Commitment to ministry and involvement with Samaritan's Purse. A significant aspect of Franklin's life has been his work with Samaritan's Purse, where he plans events and actively participates in them as a leader, humanitarian, and servant in some of the most unstable areas. After Bob Pierce died, he eventually became the organization's president at 26. He was more than just changing his title. It was a significant change that shaped his life. Under Franklin's direction, Samaritan's Purse expanded from his father's modest, nonprofit organization with a missionary emphasis to a global enterprise with billions of dollars that provided help and relief in more than 170 nations. Ministry in Asia. He would begin his ministry on a mission journey to Asia, where he would be first exposed to the terrible realities of war, starvation, and natural calamities. He developed a lifelong dedication to service due to his experience, which stoked his enthusiasm and desire for humanitarian work. He was dedicated to carrying out Pierce's idea of sharing the love of Christ with people in dire need when he was elected president in 1979. Franklin understood that his dedication to service went beyond a selfless deed. He sought to meet material and spiritual needs. With a hint of this dual emphasis, Samaritan's Purse has taken part in many humanitarian and outreach efforts with a touch on this dual focus. The group has taken the lead in responding to disasters, storms, and earthquakes worldwide. Support to West Africa. Samaritan's Purse provided spiritual support to the impacted communities while simultaneously sending in medical teams and building treatment facilities to combat the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Additionally, the charity provided resources and volunteers to assist families displaced by natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina and Harvey, which devastated nearby regions. Franklin Graham's commitment to humanitarian work is remarkable, and his active involvement in times of need is truly apparent. He actively engages in humanitarian work all around the globe, however, and is not only an operations executive giving instructions from a distance. Servant leadership is shown by going with teams into war areas or to communities affected by natural catastrophes. He's committed to meeting people physically and spiritually wherever they are, as seen by his willingness to go to such inhospitable locations. His calling. Beyond direct disaster response, Franklin was pivotal in establishing programs supported by his foundation to help communities rebuild after crises. For instance, after significant earthquakes or floods, Samaritan's Purse focuses not only on immediate needs, but also on building homes and putting in roads. It takes a holistic approach to spiritual recovery, ensuring communities get back on their feet and help themselves in the long term. Franklin frequently speaks of the call he heard to go to the slums of the streets and the ditches of the world, his dedication to helping those who are forgotten. Franklin's leadership style is open and collaborative-minded. Reaching out to the community. Most importantly, he discusses the value of collaborating with local churches and organizations in each community they serve. By doing so, Samaritan's Purse can provide culturally sensitive aid tailored to each population's unique needs. Long-term impact necessitates empowerment, and local churches are frequently best positioned to provide this ongoing support and discipleship. Franklin experienced his share of hardships during his time with Samaritan's Purse, personally and in the operational trenches, but he remained steadfast in his faith. Trusting God. Working with staff and volunteers, he instills the value of faith in their work, establishing an organization that cultivates a personal relationship with God. As Franklin Graham's ministry flourished, his festivals ignited a global revival, spreading the gospel to millions and redefining evangelical outreach for a new generation. He regularly attributes Samaritan's purse's effectiveness not to financial whims or logistical forethought, but to exclusive divine direction and prayerful trust in God's supply. Impact of Franklin Graham's festivals on evangelical outreach. Franklin Graham has directed the evangelical endeavor for several years, which relies on the activity of local Christians and the church. Since hosting his first evangelical gathering in 1989, he's organized over 325 festivals in the United States and over 55 countries. These gatherings, sometimes called crusades, offer opportunities to share the gospel with thousands, if not millions, of people who attend. Franklin explained that the significance of these events lies not only in the number of people who attend, but also in the impact and change they can bring about in the community. Franklin's festivals have maintained the framework of his father's crusades and have been modified to fit modern needs and contexts. They typically last a few days and feature various program elements such as music, testimonies, and preaching. Christian artists perform, drawing thousands of people from diverse backgrounds to make an event unmissable. Each festival concludes with a call to come forward and accept Christ as their Savior, a pivotal moment because many people make decisions that will have long-term effects and change the course of their spiritual journey. Coordinating with the local church. One unique aspect of Franklin's festivals is the involvement of local churches. Each event is meticulously planned with the help of local church and community leaders, ensuring that the outreach is not just an event, but a springboard for ongoing ministry in the community. Local churches play an important role in following the festivals, helping introduce new believers to congregations and supporting them as they walk their faith. This ministry model instills ownership in the local church to participate in evangelism and discipleship. The festivals. Interestingly, these festivals have been shown to impact community transformation more than just conversion significantly. In cities where Franklin has held festivals, there have been reports of increased church attendance, revitalized local ministries, and various forms of community service. These events have become a focal point for Christians to unite in a single shared mission to spread the love and message of Jesus Christ, allowing believers to see their place in this shared narrative and feel inspired to give more fully to their communities. Reaching out at a global level. Meanwhile, Franklin Graham's strategy of mixing it up shows an awareness of, if not social media platforms, then at least modern communication methods. With the advent of live streaming technology, these festivals have reached global levels. Virtual participation enables a more inclusive cross-section of the population to engage because people who cannot make it in person can still echo their voices. The adaptation has been beneficial when physical gatherings are not possible, as has been the case during the COVID-19 health crisis. Franklin also spoke out on social issues and is well known among evangelicals. His openness to confront such moral dilemmas, from talk of religious liberty to social justice, has prompted dialogue among believers regarding the meeting place of faith and culture. In doing so, he challenges Christians to speak of their faith in word, deed, and application. The lasting impact of Franklin Graham festivals can be seen in increased involvement by young people in evangelism and church life. Inspiring the youth. The young people who attend these events are deeply impacted by what they hear, particularly their stories, and they leave with the confidence to share their faith with others in the workplace, at school, or online. This generational shift is essential to ensuring the future of evangelical outreach, not to become lazy and arrogant, but to stay vibrant and relevant. As the digital age dawned, Franklin Graham used technology to spread the gospel, using social media, live streaming, and creative outreach to reach a worldwide audience. In contrast to previous years, the international communications landscape had changed, and technology has advanced past his father's era of evangelism to the point where Franklin Graham's approach is very different from his father's time. He's fulfilled his promise to adopt new forms of communication, allowing him to expand his reach and reach nationwide with a variety of groups much more successfully. Spreading the gospel. Today, this adaptation also focuses on electronic media. Still, the key components are social media and live streaming, which have become vital channels to spread the gospel far beyond traditional means. Franklin Graham's work has been impacted by technological advancements in a significant way as his outreach is global. Continents away from the United States, and the direct and immediate mode of communication with believers local to the new churches created has facilitated evangelism, coordinated accordingly from various parts of the world. Franklin festivals are an example of how New Age communication can empower global missions, as they are conducted exclusively in large stadiums and online, allowing people from related cultural backgrounds to hear the message simultaneously. Streaming live. The ongoing messages he delivers to his churches typically resonate with his audiences and are pertinent to current social issues of the day, moral decisions, social justice, or personal considerations, all firmly rooted in the Word of God. When live streaming, translation services allow the gospel to transcend language restrictions or serve as a bridge to reach a target audience of non-English speakers. The dedication to inclusivity reflects a recognition that evangelism must be contextualized yet anchored in the essentials. Still, Franklin also recognized that cultural relevance was another crucial component of his outreach strategy. Authenticity and relevance. The younger generation, which yearns for authenticity and relevance in their journey with God, finds this appealing. Additionally, Graham's festivals emphasize community involvement, which is the key to leaving an enduring legacy that reverberates long after the events. Through the local church, Franklin helps to forge sustainable disciple-making and growth. As the needs of a broken world escalated, Franklin Graham's humanitarian efforts surged, providing crucial support and relief in the face of natural disasters and global crises. Already, he's partnered with a church network for ongoing discipleship of new believers so they don't just walk away from their mountaintop emotional experience at a festival and return to their hometown. Humanitarian efforts during global crises. As president of Samaritan's Purse, he's responded compassionately during significant disasters. He's dedicated himself to helping those suffering from natural disasters, wars, and other emergencies. His organization has led the charge of providing immediate assistance and long-term recovery, becoming an example of humanitarian response done well, how compassion can meet with operations in what works. The legacy of Graham's evangelism can be seen in the continued use of evangelical policies. His commitment to combining humanitarian work with evangelism has changed how churches conduct outreach. Dispatching medical care and food distribution. The aid given during the devastating 2010 earthquake in Haiti, which had a magnitude of 7.0 and left many dead, is among the most prominent instances of Franklin Graham's humanitarian response. Samaritan's Purse sent emergency teams to provide medical care, food distributions, and shelter for the displaced, and shortly after the earthquake, Franklin traveled to Haiti to assist directly with relief efforts on the ground and to assess the needs of those affected. His assistance also served as a reminder of his dedication and helped inspire additional relief efforts from other organizations. The Syrian refugee crisis. In the same way, in the Syrian refugee crisis currently affecting the world today, Franklin has been a central figure in bringing aid to those who escaped from violence and persecution. Samaritan's Purse responded by extending the mission to Lebanon and Jordan, where millions have sought refuge from the civil war and need essential relief such as food, shelter, and medical assistance. His call for churches to minister to refugees physically and spiritually underscored his belief that deeds of compassion should accompany the gospel. This dual effort helped to ensure that immediate assistance was available and crucial community relationships were built for long-term healing. Beyond these specific situations, Graham is consistently committed to working with local churches and international NGOs to ensure that aid is distributed more effectively. Samaritan's Purse collaborates directly with local organizations to respond to unique needs and maintain all existing medical protocols. Amidst the rubble of the crisis, a spark of joy emerged as Franklin Graham's Operation Christmas Child brought hope and laughter to children worldwide, one shoebox at a time. Operation Christmas Child Initiative. Since its inception in 1993, Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child, has offered humanitarian aid and global outreach to children worldwide. The project began with a straightforward but impactful idea: to give gifts in shoeboxes to children in need around the world, demonstrating God's love to them through a tangible gift. It all began when an Englishman called Franklin Graham and asked if he would help fill shoeboxes for Eastern European children. That conversation led to a movement that has since changed the lives of millions of people. And since then, OCC has distributed more than 220 million shoebox gifts to boys and girls in more than 170 countries and territories. Gifts in shoeboxes. Operation Christmas Child is more than just giving. It's about happiness and a little hope for kids who might never have received a gift. For many recipients, getting a shoebox as their first gift is an impression that lasts, even if the box's contents disappear. Each shoebox contains toys, school supplies, hygiene products, and notes from the packers that make the gifts even more personal. By distributing shoeboxes, local churches provide access to the gospel message and address urgent needs, while allowing them to hear the gospel and participate in a discipleship class that offers spiritual follow-up. Operation Christmas Child has had a significant impact on kids all over the world. Sharing the joy of Christmas. Since the start of the movement, millions of children have received a Christmas shoebox, and in 2023, over 11 million shoeboxes filled with gifts were collected worldwide. In 2024, the target is to reach an additional 12 million children. Over the last 20 years, OCC has given gifts to over 230 million children, gathering these shoebox presents from individuals who wish to make a difference. In addition to meeting material needs, OCC fulfills one of the most fundamental needs of all souls through its discipleship course, The Greatest Journey. Over 40 million children have taken part in learning and putting their faith-based ideas into practice, and the youngsters have been engaged in the course for more than 10 years. The beneficiaries' accounts only highlight the significance of Operation Christmas Child. Metaphorical message. Thousands of children have shared their life-changing experiences with shoebox presents. Each shoebox is handed to a kid with assistance and discipleship from nearby churchgoers. Thanks to the efforts of thousands of volunteers in churches throughout the globe, participation from local churches will emphasize evangelism and humanitarian relief as part of this relationship, which promotes community engagement. Volunteers who pack shoeboxes throughout the autumn and facilitate the process for individuals, families, churches, or organizations to pack shoeboxes during National Collection Week in November are part of this ministry's program operation. OCC has included contemporary trends and traditional shoeboxes by enabling users to create online shoeboxes. Those willing to participate. Those who cannot pack boxes may still participate by selecting suitable presents for underprivileged kids. Although many people may easily purchase online, the personal touch is maintained by including a letter and photo with each virtual package. The large number of volunteers participating throughout the year makes the effort effective. Samaritan's Purse organizes more than 540,000 volunteers globally each year to distribute shoebox gifts. This specialized device ensures everything is done quickly, from packaging to shipment, without sacrificing quality control. Despite its successes, Operation Christmas Child has encountered opposition. Backlashes. Some detractors even assert that while giving presents may be admirable, the purpose was to provide a pretext for ulterior motives relating to conversion. However, proponents argue that spreading the gospel and offering helpful support is essential for a comprehensive ministry that meets people's material and spiritual needs. Although personal tragedy and suffering softened his determination, Franklin Graham's steadfast principles attracted acclaim and controversy outside the pulpit, showing a leader rooted in faith. Influence, controversy, and personal loss. The extent of Franklin Graham's public impact and the scandals surrounding his ministry show how politics, religion, and social concerns are intertwined. Religious leaders, both public and private, swiftly avoided Franklin Graham. However, his approach to ministry and readiness to participate in public discussions about social concerns have elicited various responses. He's a controversial figure, not just in evangelicalism, but maybe in society at large due to his vocal support for former President Donald Trump and his varied opinions on immigration, Islam, and LGBTQ rights. Finding the balance. Franklin Graham has struggled to balance popular opinion and his beliefs. Even though conservative evangelicals still support him in significant numbers, accusations of partisanship have been made against him because of his connections to politicians like Trump, undermining his father's nonpartisan reputation. The decision drew criticism from many quarters, and even family members expressed worry that he was departing from the inclusive and loving message that his father, Billy Graham, is renowned for. In addition to denouncing same-sex marriage as a sin against God, he said that groups such as Black Lives Matter contribute to the persistence of social issues by encouraging disdain for authorities. These viewpoints have found a natural audience among Christians with similar beliefs with evangelical religious circles. Others, conversely, have found them contentious or radical, alienating, and polarizing. His detractors still maintain that his rhetoric simplifies one of our most complicated societal issues. There's been a huge public uproar over both incidents. Theologians and prominent evangelical voices denounce Franklin's actions as a means of undermining evangelical's social message. Notable individuals like John Piper, for instance, have openly questioned how Christians can support a leader whose actions are ethically inconsistent with biblical ethical precepts. Family legacy. Evangelical circles are more generally worried that Franklin's support for other candidates has harmed his ability to communicate with a cynical world outside of the church. Aside from public scandals, Franklin Graham has also gone through significant personal tragedies that have shaped his perception on ministry. A central turning point in his life and his leadership position as the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association (BGEA) chairman occurred with the loss of his father in September 2018. Billy Graham was a spiritual guide in addition to being a parent. Franklin recognized his duty to preserve the family heritage while negotiating the challenges of modern ministry as he reflected on his father's death. Having faith. Franklin has considered the effects of hardship on the spiritual path as a result of his own experiences of suffering. He's often shared his father's experience of enduring in gospel ministry despite difficult circumstances and how it motivates him to carry on his job. Franklin frequently discusses praying for consolation during difficult times, demonstrating his own experience that faith is crucial in overcoming adversity. However, this feeling of religion affects his life and how he conducts himself publicly, encouraging others to elevate themselves with an uncompromising God. His experiences with grief has also influenced Franklin's perspective on public ministry. He addresses these realities using his teachings since he knows many people deal with problems like loss, sorrow, or social pressures. Establishing a relationship. He wants to establish a closer connection with people by sharing his stories of sorrow and redemption to provide comfort and faith-based hope. Public disputes and personal setbacks have combined to create a diverse story of Franklin Graham's ministry. His zeal to contribute to social debate shows that he's dedicated to upholding his evangelical tradition while addressing critical issues facing contemporary society. However, due to this commitment, there are rifts within his family and the greater evangelical community. The ongoing disputes within the Graham family best show this split. A few family members have publicly criticized Franklin for his political beliefs and rhetoric out of concern that it would damage their grandfather's loving and welcoming legacy. This internal conflict reminds us that firmly held personal beliefs might clash with public service, creating problems beyond personal opinions.